Peeps, the deranged savages drank blood in religious ceremonies. Same peeps, this is the blood and flesh of Christ that died for us. So, expanding on this thought, this is just a hypocrisy that I've seen. Some people, mostly in the West, mostly in current year, will look to older religions, older faiths, older theologies, older practices, and call them savages. Even back then, during the expansion from the West, when they were discovering the New World, and they found these people going to the Dark Continent and finding these savage Africans in the jungles and bushes and things like this, they would call them savages for their religious practices that involved sacrifices. Not only were they still engaging in communion at that time, even historically, the actual religion they believed in, most of them believed in Christianity, was based on having sacrifices and blood sacrifices. One of the most honored people in Christianity is Abraham, and his main challenge was being put up to sacrifice his son Isaac to God. Then the main actual star of the whole show, Jesus Christ, engaged in a blood sacrifice, which might not be quite a sacrifice, because I think he knew. He's God in all these kind of situations, and he came back to more like a little 3-day siesta, because he died. But anyway, he had to shed his blood for human beings. It was some vicarious sacrifice of another human being that was innocent of this supposed crime. Although you can say maybe he wasn't innocent of the crime, since he's also God and he's the one who actually gave us those sins to begin with, because he knew what God. But let's not get into that. Just the actual action was this being has to be sacrificed in order for these other people to be saved by this other being. That is a blood sacrifice. In fact, one of the features that used to be touted by some of the early Christians was that, in fact, these other gods demand human sacrifice. Our God is so special that he sacrificed himself to himself. That was the rationalization some people gave. And some people to this day still believe in transubstantiation, where they believe that the actual wafers or bread or crackers or juice or wine or whatever is actually used, they literally believe that there is some change of it to literally be the body and blood of Christ, and then they consume it. So I do not believe this. I find it almost absurd. I think a lot of issues in the world are that beliefs like these are held to a high standard, held to be as something like virtuous. And if you are allowed to just believe these things, oh, this is a pure belief, this is something that we can't really discuss, this is a protected belief. That kind of thinking, this kind of illogic, this kind of lack of reason will seep into other things. You can already see how somebody could easily compartmentalize that when the Incans do this, if some African tribe does this, they are some bastards. They are these horrific human beings. But when we do it, we're just doing God's way. When I do it, it's good. When you do it, it's bad. This goes into secular parts. You look at the general practice right now. Another kind of blood sacrifice is the horrific practice of clitorectomies and circumcisions. Yet you have one in the West where circumcision is just in general treated as not as bad as clitorectomies. Those things are considered to be different things. Yet they both involve mutilating, often children, for some cultural and quite often religious reasons. So I'm going to leave that off here. People are hypocritical. I am hypocritical about some things. I try to work at it. If you find me being hypocritical in the content that I make, please let me know in the comment section. I thank you for taking your time to come to listen to this. Let me know what else you might think about this topic, about blood sacrifices. Do you think I am being too much with the whole characterization of what Jesus supposedly did in the 3 different Gospels? It was like 4 different Gospels. There's many different takes on what actually happened and how many other zombies came up and walked the earth with him. And yeah, anyway, do you think I'm being too tough for that? Do you think it's a false equivalency? And if so, why? Let me know in the comment section. Till next time, links to merchandise store as well. Also, one-time donations on PayPal, much appreciated, but I'm already just appreciating you taking your time to come to listen to this content. Enjoy having this time with you. Goodbye.